Okay, everybody, looks like we've got some sound here. I'm going to diminish this down. I'm here at Data Admin BIS 4403, and I just want to remind you, that I'd sent an email out, and Tuesdays, this class meets Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30 to 1:45, and I wanted to let you know and remind you. You remember I just sent you guys a long-winded email that for this course, Tuesdays will be a virtual class day, and then Thursdays we will physically meet. Now, I also want to make sure that you see everything. And I sent an email out earlier, and you'll want to check your boxes, your email boxes, about how to get to the Microsoft Access products on the labs in the computer. And this is my apologies about some of the problems that you might have had. This was something that happened with miscommunication between the IT folks here and us. Now, we did a little bit of an introduction, and I'm going to go over here to the announcements area, okay? And if you have not, you should, here's the announcement I referenced, and I also sent everybody this email. Right here is the video of our class on the 24th, okay? And what I'm doing now is I'm going ahead, and today is obviously the 26th, and then this will be for the, let me check my calendar, the 29th of August. This will be what you'll want to take a look at. And let's just kind of get ourselves acclimated. We've seen it. So this recording will be for your Tuesday, August 29th, 17 class. And once I've converted it to the YouTube video, I'll post the video in YouTube, and then come back and I'll post a link to it so you can see it, okay? Don't forget the Tuesdays are virtual class days for you, and I'll have those prepared. I've started to go ahead and wait till Tuesday, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this done. Now, let's just kind of a reminder about navigating. Here's home, okay, the home button, and of course you'll see all of these. These are, and now you're going to see some things that when you look at your screen that are not on your screen when you're navigating around, because I have instructor view built in here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that and put the settings on and choose instructor view. Okay. Well, I'm going to wait on that because there are some files probably that I'm going to want to get to that I've hidden, and I want to go ahead and reveal them to you. Now, again, up here, this is the dashboard. Once you've logged into Canvas, any of your instructors who use Canvas you'll see a dashboard. And then here are any announcements, okay? We've talked about those I've already created here. And as I had mentioned to you before, and I know you're always wanting to okay, what's due this week? What do I have to turn in? And I understand that. That's the first thing I worry about. I ask myself is, what do I need to be grading? So I'll click on the syllabus here, that section, and it will show you everything that's due. Okay, and the first thing due is an exam over the Rockoff text chapters 1 through 2. That is the Data Analysis with Access 2010 textbook by Larry Rockoff, that blue one. And that's due by 6 p.m. on September 7th. Then on September 14th, you'll see we have quite a bit to upload. Access workshop number 1, that's from text 2. That's the Rockoff text. Access workshop 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to be working on these 4 workshops as we go along. Okay, and I'll tell you what to upload for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so as you know, when you take a workshop with me, you just simply you upload the file, and and that's all. Because if you've done that, you've been in the class, you've learned, etc. And I like to show you a finished product, as you know, on a case study, and then walk backwards from it. Then you have two exams on the 14th of September that will be due. And notice I tell you how many attempts you have, okay, and the time limit and how many items are in there. They are open book, open note, but note that they are time sensitive. You have to have them done by that date, by 6 p.m. You have 90 minutes. You get one attempt, okay, on this exam. On this exam, one attempt. You have 75 minutes to complete it. There are 30 items. 75 minutes to complete this. There are 30 items. They are typically multiple choice, sometimes true and false, okay, objective items. So that kind of lets you know what's going on here in terms of work that you need to turn in. Now, if you say, okay, well, what are we going to do in class, or what will you probably be covering? You're going to find it here in the modules section, and that's where we started already. Of course, you can open and close these. I'll open this. This is when we did the orientation. And you remember, as you recall, I scrolled down, showed you all these resources that we have, etc. Okay, and you're going to see, like, when we get to doing when we get to working on the SQL fundamentals textbook, that's that one that has looks like the blocks. SQL fundamentals. It's the text by John Patrick. They have a thing called Lunch's Database. We'll be working on it. And a couple of things that I showed you here. There's some resources, okay? And we talked about the analytical cube. And here's, again, some resources I encourage you to go out and take a look at, okay? And, again, some slide shares, just some resources. And these are things that are part of lecture. And my expectation is that you'll go ahead and take a look at it. Now, I don't quiz you over these, but these are things that you'll use to take a look at some trends and things that are going on. Same thing over here. Here's a link about SAS analytics, and this is Access Workshop 6. Where in the world I got that from? Again, I have some more things. Here's a link that talks about the Internet of Everything, and that's all of these, all the websites and everything, as well as chips that are embedded in products and how they're changing things. And some other, I have the World Top Incomes Database. Here's a link over to that study done by the French economist talking about income inequality. Here's a link about big data. This is a video over at YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, that covers a day in the life of big data and how these products are integrated into how chips and the cloud are integrated into so many aspects of our lives, and it's only going to go. This trend is only going to continue. And this shows you data warehouse and data flows and data mix. And I want to take just a minute and talk with you about it. Okay. So we'll pop over there to it. All right. This is important, and as you recall, I talked about this notion of a data warehouse. Okay. And this illustrates for us what I mean. Now, here we have several kinds of enterprise resource products. Okay. These are these are, and you can see the different streams of customer data, vendor data, product data, and these are all collected, stored in the data warehouse, and then we use that data warehouse to give us a piece, these two pieces, the analytical cube, or we do some querying and we combine, say, a couple of data streams. And again, so you can see we do a convergence process where we take all that data. It's like financial data, this is customer relationship data, this is external conditions, and we put them into the data warehouse, and then as we do queries and then generate reports and queries, we get that data. Okay, so that's that really is as good an illustration as I've seen of what we mean by a data warehouse. Okay, so I'm going to click that off there for just a second, and we'll go back here. Okay, and you've got there are whole sets of resources that I've got there for you. This is an interesting video on the self-driving car, and we see all of these big tech companies and big car companies really moving towards that issue. And we talked about the Q and the wisdom triangle, okay? And so you know, you're going to see I've got some funny kinds of things in here. I'm making fun of eHarmony, so not that big of a deal. Now, we are going to start today on Access Workshop number 1. We talked a little bit about the idea of a data warehouse. Again, I just have all kinds of resources here for you. All right. So you can see just a tremendous set of them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up, and I'm going to close that module off. All right. And I'm going to go over to the files. Okay. And I'm going to look for the Rockoff files. I'll search for that. And there we are. And here are the Rockoff files. Here's the zip file, and it has all of the data that we would want. Okay, and I might as well take that one right there, and while we get that in exam 1, I'm going to unpublish that real fast, because it's not anything that you need. It's just a waste. Okay, now here are the Rockoff files, the zip files. Okay, and it's pretty, as I've mentioned before, you want to download everything, so we're going to do that. And there's no preview for the file, so we'll close it off. What we want to do is just simply download them. Okay. You'll get the download here. You'll open this up, and you're going to see a file for the data warehouse and the sales data. Okay. And Access Workshop 1. You want to follow along with me. So as we do this, you want to have your textbook open, because it's going to be illustrating some things that we're talking that we'll be working with. Okay, and the Access Workshop 1 file. All right. We're going to do a little bit of work with it, and it is over. And if you want to, and you should follow along with me really with your textbooks, you ought to have the Rockoff text, and that is going to be over in the Appendix B in page 375. Okay, you're going to see it says a sample business intelligence database. All right, and we're gonna look at that. All right, and we want to use, as he mentions there, the data warehouse file. So I'm going to. Here's the easiest way to do this. I'm going to diminish my browser. I'm going to take, and you can see, of course, my home computer just crowded all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to take the data warehouse. Okay, and the file, and I'm going to download it here on my desktop, and then I'm going to open it up. All right, and he's talking about creating a BI. Now, over on page 375, he begins to walk us through the process of how this thing is put together. And notice that we have, he has tables linked to production data, and these are the production tables. We talked about that before. okay? And then he talks about the tables to store the dimensions. When we talk about dimensions, these are attributes and so forth. And then table to store the facts. And here's the fact table, the fact sales table. Okay, we talked about that and how that's all put together. And we'd also talked about navigating through Access. Okay, and the fact table is exactly what it says it is. It's just a listing of all the transactions. Then we create a data warehouse query. Then there on page 375, it talks about create a data warehouse via a query that joins the dimension and the fact tables. Okay, and we're going to close this off, and you'll come down, and we're going to find this query, DW sales, and what it does is it pulls. It does exactly what he talks about there. It's a data warehouse via a query that it joins the dimension and fact tables. And let's open this up for a second. And I talked to you again about navigating. We have the shutter bar, so let's move that shutter bar over. Okay, so we have as much visual acuity as possible. And here it is that the data warehouse sales query. Okay. And we have in here everything about any sales transaction. And notice these transactions are all, we have them in terms of the date, okay? And that buzzing outside probably sounds like the people doing their lawn next door or my lawn. But I'm here working too, so no big deal. But you'll notice that we have just about everything we want to know about these sales transactions. We have the date the sale occurred. We have the quarter in which it occurred, the type of sale, which are two types, orders or returns, the channel. For marketing students, you'll understand that. Did the sale occur over the phone, through the internet, okay, or through the mail? Then the customer name, and then where that customer is located, okay? And then we've got the salesperson, and if there were, and if there's customer salesperson, and then whoever took the order, we want to know that as well. And then the product, and then you have a thing for the product category of listing of those, and we have a line price, a line cost, and the order name. So this is our our sales table, and from this query, we can pull and query as much as we want to work our way through that analytical queue. Okay. And so if you look at this, you're going to see it's just literally, there are all types of ways. In fact, we have every one of these dimensions or attributes give us something. Now, we also can go in here and take a look at this, and we have a thing called the line cost and the line price. Okay, and we have an order number. All right, and you know, as you follow along there in page 375, and this is in that book by Rockoff. Okay, and if you pop over to page 376, you'll see on page 376 where he lists all those table categories. Okay, the tables with the production data. Okay, and then the make table, and he basically goes through what I went through the other day in class, where you know the different tables that are created. So we have this sales table, and one of the first things that we might be interested in is, okay, if this is the price for the line, or that line of product, and this is the cost, what's the difference? And so we can generate a query using this, okay? And so we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna close this off, okay? I'll close this query off. Just click it off. And no, I don't want to save any changes to it. Then we go to the navigation pane. Let's open it back up and come back down to the DW sales and click on it. All right. And we're going to click copy. All right. Just click copy. And then click paste. And don't get too worried about it. It'll paste it back in the queries thing. Okay. And this is a copy of DW sales. and we're gonna change this to little DWW, little d, little w, meaning data warehouse, okay? And this is sales, and we're gonna call unit net, and we're gonna get the net difference between the price and the cost for each unit. So I'll put DW, then sales is capitalized, and then we'll capitalize unit. And that's DW sales unit. And I'm going to put my name on it, and you put your last name on it. This is what we'll be uploading. We'll be uploading this database for the very first workshop. Okay, so this is Access Workshop number 1. And you can put your DW sales unit. I'm going to put Harmon and then Keith. Okay, so I've got that done. I copied it, and you'll see as you go back down into the queries, you're going to find that query. And there it is now. I'm going to open it up. All right, I'm going to close the navigation pane, and I'm going to create I'm going to perform an operation here. Okay, and that is I'm going to subtract the line cost from the line price. Okay, and let's go into the design view. I can do that one of two ways. I can either come up here in the left-hand corner and click the design icon, or I can click on the tab, and I'll go down to what we call the graphic user interface, and we'll pull this down just a little bit. And as we talked before, we see all these tables that are all connected, okay? And they all converge, if you will. Remember that little the illustration I showed you when we started this session? We see them all converge on this fact sales table, okay? And we'll set it down. This lets us see how everything is put together. Okay? That's why we call it a data warehouse, okay? Because we have just like if you were in a warehouse and you told the robot in the warehouse, which is probably if it's a modern company, probably some type of automated system. But you have it go over to this aisle and pick up some materials, and you go over to another aisle. Yeah, and yeah, this is a lot like, this is not too different if you go to Walmart and you go shopping. You know, it's a warehouse. You got food and all the other stuff you buy, and you just start piling it into your basket. The same thing here, okay? And you can see now, just for your own purposes, click on the little line here. All right, and on that little line, it'll say Join Properties. And you'll see that this uses an inner join, okay? The left table, okay, on this Join Properties dialog box, that will tell you, are we using an inner join? That is basically an intersection. That is where the two tables share the same thing. Or are we using a left join, which would be where I get everything out of the left table and then whatever else matches in the right table? Or a right join, where I get everything on the right-hand side, okay, and then whatever matches from the left, okay? Now, if I took the two tables and just crammed them together, I have a union. And we're going to see these terms, but these are just information strategies that we're after, and most of the time we're just basically running inner joins, okay? Now, I'm going to click OK. You'll see on include, and this left table people call it the parent table, and the right table people call it child. You're going to see things about the foreign key and the primary key. You remember back maybe from 1123 that a primary key is a key that makes every record in a table unique. Okay, and then a foreign key is a primary key in one table that's buried in that's put into another table. And then we link the foreign key and the primary key, and voila, we have it. Let's look at this for a moment here. Look at the product ID on this dimension and product, okay? I have the product ID listed in here in the fact sales table, okay? Here's the channel ID, and then we have channel ID embedded. Here's a foreign key. Same thing with the sales date, okay? And most data warehouses, the author talks about this. Let me get this out here so you can see it all. Use what they call a star schema, okay? Or they use a star, or what they call a snowflake schema, or that's what I call it. If I had tables that supported the dimension customer table, for example, and if I had supporting tables for these tables, like even say lookup tables for the customer, I'd have them what we call a snowflake. But this is what we would I would essentially call a star schema. Okay, and that's just a design that says we're going to pull from all these tables and get what we want. Now we're going to do an operation here, okay? And you remember we talked about that. We're going to come over here and we're going to subtract. We're going to get the line net. Okay, so we're going to take the line price minus the line cost. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to open up a notepad, and I'm going to put line net. Okay, now we're creating an expression is the technical term. Now then I'm going to put in a bar, and I have to make sure that I spell the name of the field correctly, or I'm going to get what we call a parameter error. I'll call this line cost. Okay. Now we've got the line cost, and we're going to move that over just a minute because we're going to subtract it from the line price. So my apologies here. I'll put here it'd be a line. I'll make sure I spelled exactly, and the two words are crammed together. Line price bracket, okay, minus line cost, and that's going to give us the mathematical expression, okay, of line net. So I always work on a notepad. I don't go in here and do any work, okay? And I'll submit that back up because it can start to get kind of crowded and look crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got this, and I'll put Control C, and then I'm going to paste it in here, and I'll make sure that it shows up by clicking that. And let's go up to the data sheet view and see what we get. And we'll scroll over, and there's the line net. So now we know the net, okay, for each of those transactions. You know how much we made in terms of the net. We had the line price minus the line cost. That gave us the line net. Okay, and I've performed that, so I've got that query done. Now, if I want to, I can take this and now I can dump it into a report. I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to close this off. I'll say, want to save the changes? Yeah, I've got the changes, and then I'm going to go over here to the navigation pane, and I'll see my units. Okay, there it is, and I'm going to click on the Create tab. And I'm going to click Report Wizard. And here is the query that we created. We copied the DW sales query, and then I put my name. Okay, and then we went in and we did the operation. We got the line unit for every single one of those transactions that occurred. And we're going to get everything over here. Throw in the kitchen sink. We'll click Next. And we're not going to do any grouping. We'll click Next, and we'll click Next, and then we'll put it in a landscape and click finish. And what you're going to see is a jumbled mess. This is why I don't like the report function in Access is just as nasty as it can be, okay? Okay? So now, if you go back and you look at the textbook there in the Rockoff textbook, or on 376, he talks about, he goes through some steps. Step 1, create the production tables, okay? And step 2, create tables to store the dimensions. Then on page 377, he says, okay, create a table to store the facts of their warehouse. And we already have that done, but he just has it listed there. And so then he created a data warehouse to be a query that joins the dimension and fact tables. And that's already there, okay? And you can see how it was created. And then he says, create queries designed to retrieve data from the data warehouse. Well, we did that, okay? We performed an operation, okay? And then we computed the line net, or we took the line price minus the line cost. And as you can see, this report's got a bunch of pages in it. It's just nasty. And as you've heard me grouse before, I hate the report function in Access because it gets crowded. The visual gets crowded so quickly. Since we're here, though, let's go ahead, and I'm going to click on the layout view. And that layout view lets me do a little bit of editing where, for example, on the date, I can pull it out. I'll click on the date function. Well, in fact, we'll pull here so we can see the sales date. And you can see how jumbled up this is. Okay. And we'll click on home here and we'll see if we can get that text moved around. But you can see how nasty this is. Well, let's go ahead and just save it, okay? And you say, okay, well, Dr. Harmon, what else could I do with this? Well, if I had this, and I've done this report, I'll tell you what I would do with it. I would probably go ahead and export it to Excel, okay, where I can do some work with it. And I want to show you this real quickly. Click on here, right-click on it, click Export to Excel. Okay, and says specify export the data with formatting and layout, and yeah, let's try that. So I'm going to throw it into an Excel workshop and click OK. Now, tells me where do I want to put this, and I'm going to put it up here on my desktop. Okay, and I'll click Save, and then I'll click OK. And I don't want to save the export steps, so I'll close it. So I'm going to diminish my browser now. And there is my DWC, right next to Cardinal Buddy. You can see Cardinal Buddy right there, you see? Isn't it cool? Look at him, he's smiling. And behind him are the Grand Tetons right outside of Jackson, Wyoming. The Tetons, of course, you know, the other day, the total eclipse of the sun passed right over it. Just right here. He was here a little bit before that. You can see the sun glinting off of his St. Louis Cardinals cap. That's Cardinal Buddy. Well, let's open up the Excel file and let's see. You can see why. Now, I wanted to show you we can do an export, and now we've got this, and we can do some work in here if we choose to. Okay, we could take these data and put them into a pivot table and manipulate the variables around and all this. And do it probably in a more intuitive fashion or easier fashion than trying to work with them there in the database. That would just be up to you. If I was going to create a report, though, okay, there's our line net, and we'll close this off because we don't really need it. But you know, if you did the export to your desktop, fine, okay. I just wanted to show you that. Let's go back up, and we're here. And then as you scroll down here, you're going to see a report called Sales. and then you have a report called, here's another report that we generated. This is just a true report because we took a query and put it into the report wizard. These are reports, okay, and they're called reports while they're actually queries. Let's open one of them up, and remember, this gives us the parameters, and I think we have a beginning date, okay, 2011, I'm trying to remember that, and then an ending date, and I don't know when it stops, I forget. Let's put 6/30/2011. That should pull everything between there. Let's see what we get. And there it is. That's everything. All of the product analyses, okay, that went through for each of those products for those dates. Now, let's right-click and let's go down to the design view, okay. And notice that we had, they gave us a parameter query, the beginning date and the ending date, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and let's add the sales date over here and see if it will let us, it'll play nice. It's still going to give us this, okay, and we'll put we did 6/6/11, okay, and the ending date will be 6/30/2011, and then now we have the sales data. Now I'm going to go back into the design view because this is still a little bit jumbled, okay. And we're doing a report, we're messing with a report here. You say reports ought to be very succinct. What we did with this one was we threw in everything in the kitchen sink. And the truth is, typically you don't want to do that. You want to focus. And what we did is we focused on all the sales between the 6th of June and the 30th of June. Now, I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to go back to the design view. And I'm going to sort them in ascending order, descending order. So I should start with the latest date and come at the most current and then go backward. So let's see what happens. I have my beginning date. That's going to be 6/6/2011. And the ending date is going to be 6/30/2011. Now you're probably saying, Dark Harmon, this reminds me a lot of like when I sign in on a password. Yes, when you do a password, for example, you're using what we call a parameter query. Parameter meaning limits or some standard or criterion. And here's the prompt. Having put this in here, it says between beginning date and end date, and then we've got the sales data, so click OK. And there we are, and it has it nicely done for us, starting with the most current transaction down to the latest, to the earliest transaction. Now, if we want, we can look at total sales minus total costs, okay? And we'll do that. We'll just we'll go back in here, and we're going to work on our notepad, excuse me, and I'm going to put net total, and then I'm going to use and this will be total sales. Make sure that you write them exactly like they're spelled and put them in brackets, okay, minus total cost, okay, and I've got that operation. I'm ready. Control C, and then I'll go back down to design view. Okay, and I'll just put it in there, and then I'll do the data view, and it's going to give us a beginning date, and I'm going to put in 6/6/2011, and the ending date will be 6/30/2011, and total sales, and it's asking us to put in a total sales data, and I'm not getting that. I don't know why I'm getting that one. That's weird. It's not going to let me read that. Well, you little weasel. Well, let's run the query. See if it, okay. Beginning date. Oh, what do we got going on here? Well, here's a simple way to fix this. Don't mess with this. Let's go back and let's just run it. And so let's start with 6. What it was wanting us to do was enter a total sales data and then a line cost. And what we had over here is I forgot total sales and total costs. Okay, total sales and total costs are the line cost and line price parameters. And it was asking me to pull yet another parameter from that. And I apologize about that. So just put 6/6, but not to worry, we can do it. We can deal with it. 1/1. Okay. Beginning date and the ending date will be 6/30/2011. And we'll click OK. All right. And now we have the sales date, and we want to go back in here into the design area, and we want to make sure it's sorted. The sales date, and we'll put that in descending order, and let's see what will happen. No, we don't want to do that because that's the query. So we'll just go back up here to the report view, and we want to put in the beginning date. Okay, I'll put in the end date. You said, could I have run them where I just did the end date and the start date was the 6th of June, or could I have put in the start date and the end date are the same ones? Yeah, we could do that. And here's our query. And now if we want, what I would do is this. Yep. You can see now I've got this report, okay? And if I want to, I can go ahead and I can analyze these by category, by sales type, okay, or by product. You could see these dimensions, okay, give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm looking at 6 dimensions, okay, and then I could put that into Excel and put it into a pivot table and do it. And that's what I would do with it. Now, over in the textbook, okay, he walks you through creating a new record. This is over on page 377 on how to create a new record in the facts. Sales via an appendix, via the appendix order or appendix return. And those are queries that are called append, and that's if you're going to add an order or add a return. Okay, and we'll look at them in terms of just the design view, because we don't want to mess this table up. But I can take this and you say, okay, Dr. Harmon, if I run one of these queries, is it smart for me just to take the thing and dump it into Excel? I think it is, because you can dump it into Excel and probably do a lot more with it using a pivot table than you could just trying to write all the expressions you need. Okay, all the expressions you'd need, rather than trying to create an expression, type it in all business like I showed you here. Okay, so we've got this report product analysis. Okay. And again, I could do a screenshot with this thing and dump it. I could do, if I wanted, I could do a screenshot with this. Okay, put it into and dump it into a Word doc. All right. I could do a screenshot and put it into a PowerPoint if I want it now, or I could do this on the fly. It doesn't matter. All right. So this is a process where here's where we start to get some value. We take this and we begin to analyze it. Okay. Well, which of these products has the greatest total, the highest number of total sales? Okay. Well, we want to look at that. So we can go back in here and we can look at total sales. Now, one of the things we can do is we can do some work up here using the toolbar, because we've got this data view out here. Okay, and we could do the total sales. We could sort largest to the smallest. Now, the query probably will not save like this, but again, like I said, I can screenshot this and print screen it and put it into a Word doc. So if I want to create a report and do a series of analyses with some narrative, I can do it. Okay, and that's that really covers this Access workshop number 1 in terms of what we would want to do with this. So I'm gonna close this query. Okay, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to close. All right, I'm going to close the database. Okay, and here's what I'm going to do. It's on my desktop. It's Data Warehouse, and I'm going to rename it AW1, meaning Access Workshop 1. Okay. And then I'm going to simply take it, and I'm going to go over here to the syllabus section. Okay. And I'll come over here to Access Workshop number 1. And you can upload where it says Submit. And we've done Access Workshop number 1. Okay. Well, folks, that's pretty much it as far as for Tuesday, the 29th of August. That's and you follow these steps, okay, and you can upload again. You will follow these steps, and you can create your Access Workshop number 1. And I look, get the zip file, download it, play with it. Okay, the Rockoff file, the zip file, and then upload something. Okay, try it, and then so well, I didn't get exactly what you did. That's okay. Come back and you can review this video as often as you want. Okay. Now here's what I'm going to do for you. All right. So you can have it there. I'm going to click on Files, okay, and I'm going to upload the file I created here this morning. Right on the desktop, you can see, and this should be, I should have Access number 1 on my desktop. I got a lot of stuff on the desktop, don't I? And I'll click on it. Let me see, where is it going to be at? I thought I saved it on here. Let me find it here for a minute. Got a lot of stuff going on there, don't I? And I know I put it on my desktop. Hang on a minute. I'm going to upload it, and it's Data Warehouse Access 1. Okay, now folks, it's over here. Data Warehouse Access Workshop 1. It's published, and this is what I would like you to look at and then upload it for Access Workshop number 1, okay? Well, that does it for us, and I appreciate your time. And this will be what we'll be doing for this will be the work for Tuesday, August 29th, that class session. And rather than do a live stream of the class session, I've gone ahead and made this video for you to see. Okay, so everything is here. And I'll once I have the video and I've recorded it and converted it and recorded it and put it in YouTube, I'll put it over in the announcements. Okay, and I'll send you an email saying, hey, you want to take a look at it. This is what you'll need to do for Access Workshop number 1. And Access Workshop number 1, we did everything starting at page 375 over to page 377 in the Rockoff text. That's also text number 2. It's the text by Larry Rockoff. It's that blue one that says Data Analysis with Microsoft Access 2010. And what we've done is we've looked around the data warehouse, okay? Then we looked at the data warehouse sales, that report, that query, and then we did a little bit of work with it. We exported a file to Excel, okay, that we could do some heavier lifting if we chose to do it. And in fact, I can upload that also for you, but there's really no need because we just exported a file. You saw it, and we've done this before. So that'll be pretty much it, folks. And don't forget now, if you go down here for Access Workshop number 1 for that assignment, all right, you're going to come down here and you'll find this data warehouse AW1. Okay, August, and you can upload it. So that's it for Access Workshop number 1. Just a quick reminder, we'll look at the syllabus, okay? And then you'll do the upload. That's due the 14th of September. I'm going to go back over here to the modules, okay? And we have this orientation module of all these materials. I'm going to close it. Week 0, we've already gone there, but we'll open that up. Okay, now week 1, 829, and we're looking at data warehouse architecture concepts. And here's an interesting resource for you. This is an interactive map, shows gun violence, and this shows you the use of how we can use the database. And while I'm here for a minute, I am still recording. Let's just go ahead and take a look at it for kicks. And so I can kind of explain to you what do I mean. This is an interactive map, and you can trace and see and click on the links. And this is back from December 15th. Okay, and you can click over to the Gun Violence Archive. It'll take you over there, and there's the map. And basically, all they're doing is they have this map, and then each dot represents gun violence. Okay, and then we begin to you see this is a data warehouse concept. Okay, and then running queries to get these data, and then they put them over here for us to see. And this is from January 1st to August 26th, which is today. Gun violence in the country. Fascinating archive for you to play around with, take a look at it to see how we can use a database. Okay, and here what we've done is we've taken all those data, instead of having them in tables that don't really mean much or tell you much, we've taken those data and we've overlaid them on a map. so you can really see where that happens. I think looking at the map also you can see, well, it makes sense because this is where the population of the United States is at. On the two coasts and down all around the coast, and then you don't have much. I mean, people live in the middle of the country, relatively low density population. Okay, so that's a resource that you can see, and I would encourage you to do that. Now, I'm going to close this off. I'm going to go back here for a minute, and I'll close off that and go back and close this up. Okay, and we've done week 0. We were down here at week 1. This is for the this is the workshop for the 29th of August, and then on the 31st we'll have a physical meeting that Thursday. Remember, we're doing Thursdays. We have a physical meeting. Tuesday is virtual, so you'll want to look at this for Tuesday, and then upload Access Workshop number 1, and the file, of course, is over there. Okay. Well, folks, I look forward to seeing you next week on the 31st of August at 12:30. Until then, you got some things to look at and to do. Take care, and I will see you then. So I'm going to stop sharing here and end the recording and all that business and close the meeting. So click on stop the share. And then I'm going to stop the recording and end the meeting, and that'll do it.